ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to your own YouTube channel, The Sahil. So, today in this video, we are going to talk about the financial budget of India 2024, the importance of financial budget of India 2024 for India and for the world as well, because there was something in this budget that really attracted a lot of foreigners as well to focus, like on our budget, what this budget is saying, what this budget is all about, and like how we are going to exactly see all of these topics and main points here in this like video about the financial budget of India 2024. So without wasting our time, I would like to start this conversation. So first of all, I have divided this like you can say clip into 6 parts in order to understand perfectly, and BBC has also reported the same thing which I'm going to tell you here. So my sources where I have read all the stuffs are The Guardian, BBC, The Economist, and many more sources like Al Jazeera. I have got a help of these newspapers to really enhance my knowledge on this field. So first of all, we're going to start this video today. So finally, India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitaraman has presented her coalition government's first budget after a slim election victory. So the governing Bharatiya Janata Party lost its outright majority in Parliament. So the new spending plan has replaced a step-gap interim budget that came into effect from like April 1. So actually, this budget is very important for us. This budget is very important for us, especially for the businessman, especially whether you are a student, you are a businessman, or you are a school teacher, or anybody. Like this is going to be very important for you to understand and listen to this and watch this video completely, I would say. So, like finally, she has presented the Indian budget 2024, but there are 5 key points I'm going to mention here, and you have to decide which point you are going to like the most and which point you are not agreeing with. I am simply here to make my points of view, what I have exactly felt after reading this report. So I'm going to read this report, by the way, in front of you, what this report is exactly talking about. So the budget announcement clearly indicated like a shift in priorities for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's new dispensation, with ramped up allocations for rural development, skilling, and job and agriculture. So 6 keys, by the way, we have to focus. The first one is like the budget increases tax on long term, you can say, capital gain. So first of all, this is a very bad news for the investors. Absolutely, it's going to be a bad news for the investors. If you see the long-term capital gain, the like tax rate has increased by 2.5%, which was just 10% beforehand. Now it is 12.5%. So now we can see this is a long-term capital gain has been increased by 12.5% directly from 10%. Assets held for over a year are considered long-term. So the assets you are going to like held for approximately or maybe over a year, that will be considered as a long-term you can say like financial long-term, you can say, capital gain. And here's the point of view, like it is not only about, like you can say, those people who are going to have their assets for 1.5 year or over a year, they have to pay tax like 2.5% more than the previous or like than the previous one, which is like 10%, and now it has been increased by 2.5%. The second one, I would definitely say the interest rate. And here's the thing to focus: short-term capital gain that has been increased by total 5%. Can you just imagine? It has been increased by total 5% in a year. That will be exactly charging you 5% more than the previous one, and that was 10%, that was 20%, and now it has been just 15%. So short-term capital gains will now be taxed at 20% instead of 15. So it was 15% before, and now it is 20%. So the budget has also increased the securities transactions tax on derivatives trading. This was widely expected, with the economic survey released a day earlier raising red flags about rising speculations and growing participations of retail investors in Indian equity market. That's what exactly BBC is saying. Second point, I would like to mention a 24 billion job plan. That is the best thing I have read today in BBC. That this is like asserting that somehow Indian government is going to generate 24 billions amount of money, you can say, like employment for the Indian youths who have been struggling a lot to get a job properly now in India. And this year they have clearly announced that we are going to spend 2 trillion Indian dollar, equivalent to to 84 point, I think, 5 billion, 24 billion amount of money in America, and like somehow 18.5 billion pound in the UK. So the first time job entrants in the formal like sector will receive a direct cash transfer equivalent to their monthly salary for up to maximum 15,000 rupees in additions to their first monthly pay. Third one is tax relief for startup, middle classes, and foreign corporates. That is the best part, because look, beforehand what used to happen, we used to charge 40% to the foreign investors, 40% to the companies which were so much interested to come into our country for investments or for manufacturing something here. Now they have to pay only 35% taxes now, but it still is too much high. I would not say that is a bold move to attract the new companies. It's a bold move to attract a new, you can say, investor, but it is a positive, you can say, step towards investment and attracting new billionaire companies, like billions of like companies here in India, by just raising a tax, by just decreasing the tax by 5%. It was 40% before. Now they have to pay only 30%, by the way. So the countries, you can say, burgeoning startup ecosystem will have something to cheer about, with an angel tax levied on capital raised by private companies now abolished. So this is the thing. So tax relief for startups, middle classes, and foreign corporates, as I clearly told you. So the fourth one would be like a budget for the allies. So finally, as the opposition protesting against this government, that was not the like India budget, it is NDA budget. That's what the opposition is exactly claiming, because opposition is saying the government has promised only to Bihar, the government is promised only to Andhra Pradesh, just because BJP government has got a seat from these two states to make its power, or to become in power in a parliament. So that is why they have promised, you can say, 150 billion rupees for the development of Andhra Pradesh capital, with a promise for more money in the coming years. And they have promised Bihar government to help them to build airports, bridges, road, power projects, and many more things. And the number fifth one is reduced budget deficit. The budget has set a new reduced target for its fiscal deficit, the amount by which expending exceeds revenue at 4.9% for this financial year, below the 5.1% announced earlier. The number is closely watched by rating agencies and has a direct bearing on interest rates. A significant dividend, you can say, payout of more than 25 billion from the country's central bank has enabled the government to reduce its deficit without cutting expenditure significantly. One is the most important, I would say. So the capex unchanged. The outlay on state-led capital expenditure on infrastructure's creation has remained unchanged from the 134 billion amounts of money in like interim budget. However, it is clear the focus has now become more diversified to other areas like employment, small businesses, and social welfare. Like said Subhadra Rao, economist and founder of Quant's Eco Research. So India's finance minister expected the economy to grow. So my point of view, all of this budget and my perspective about every single thing is like they have really passed a wonderful budget this year's, and this year's budget is going to be very beneficial for the students who are seeking for the job, as they have promised. We are going to spend 84.5 billion, 18 billion amounts of money into this project, that is equivalent to 2 trillion amounts of Indian rupees, and that will create a more job for the like youth. But I think like we should not be in delusion, we should not live in delusions, we should come back to the reality. This government has been promising people for the last 10 years to provide job equality and everything. Are they able to provide the job? Have they like done anything good for those youngsters who are just queuing in the line to just filling the form of the exams, and somehow you can see the big NEET scam or many more things going on out there? Even though after putting this much hard work, the students are not able to get a proper favoritism and dispensation from the government. So now this is the best part I like about this budget, that government is really thinking about the youth, which they think all the time, but somehow they get failed when it's come to implement the real rules into the real life. So now they have to invest money in employment, so the youth who are absolutely unemployed in India, most of them are unemployed, most of them are seeking for a government job. At least they will able to get a government job properly, and especially their favorite job though. So that's what government needs to do here, that's what government needs to like get done here, and they will do that. and they have left many more states. By the way, this is I do not like. They have specifically mentioned about the allies state of BJP, example like Bihar and Andhra Pradesh. Why they haven't mentioned about any other states though? It is also a question mark, and that's why the opposition is really protesting against this budget. They are saying it is not an India budget, it is ND budget. That's what they have been talking about. This is a bad news for the cryptocurrency holders. This is the bad news for the stock marketers, those people who are too much into this fact. As I told you very clearly that long-term capital gain has increased by 2.5% directly from the 10%, but short-term capital gain has been increased directly 5%. That is absolutely bad. It would be standing somehow 20% from 15% last year. So now we have to understand the dilemma of government, what kind of rule and regulations they have exactly passed, and what this budget is exactly saying. What have you understood about this budget? What you have got exactly about this budget? You have to tell me in the comment section. Now I would like to take your leave. Thank you very much for watching this video and stopping by. Have a good care of yourself. Bye bye.